At the ripe age of 31, I can honestly say that every person, thing, place, opportunity that I have come in contact with has had a purpose and has helped me get to where I am today. And with that statement, I also firmly believe that there are some people and things and opportunities that are meant to stay with us for a lifetime. And there are also some things, people, places, opportunities that were meant to serve a certain purpose in a specific season. And that delineation requires a tremendous amount of discernment. It also requires a tremendous amount of self-awareness. And it also requires a solid group of people who love you deeply and know you deeply that are surrounding you and being mirrors to you, especially in times when you may not see what is for a season versus what is meant for a lifetime. And I was just talking with one of my girlfriends about this earlier today, where there's three big things I want to touch on when it comes to discernment regarding the time that comes when you need to release. And so I'm going to say that again. There's three things that I want to touch on when it comes to navigating a season when you know that you need to release. The first thing that I always have to do myself and recommend to my friends and family is the power of fasting. And unless you have done a fast before, you may not understand the sheer gravity and power of literally like what you know to be true that you need in order to sustain yourself, depriving yourself from that in a way that the only way that you can actually feel full and like being able to sustain yourself is by trusting in, talking to, and being within the spirit of the Lord. And whether that means listening to worship music instead of secular music, whether that means being in your word, which ideally we're doing, whether that means watching sermons, like constantly feeding your spirit with him instead of food. And I've heard some people, go without water as well, or even, specific foods that you typically go to because you desire them. And instead leaning into your desire to get closer to God. Like, every single time I have gone through a fast, I have come out of it with more clarity about how I need to move in situations, whether it's navigating the job market, or whether it's navigating friendships, or whether it's navigating like how to move forward, I don't know, post conflict with someone. And that is something that you can, like, that level of clarity and confidence in how to move next can only be attained by hearing directly from the source himself. While, yes, we have therapists, while, yes, we have, close friends and family members, spouses, whatever the case may be, one thing that I always appreciated in therapy, my therapist is a Black woman who is also very Christ-centered, and all of her therapy sessions, yes, we talked from the practical side and the science of therapy, but it was always combined with the spiritual and like Jesus-centered side of being Christians. And she would always tell me, Brienne, based off of what you're telling me and based off of what I know to be true about this person, this is what I recommend that you do. And the only reason I recommend that you do otherwise is if you've heard directly from God that you should be moving differently. And so there was always that caveat there, which is why I wanted to lead first with first things first, like whether you're doing a 1 week fast, whether it's a 2 week fast, like whatever God puts on your spirit, do it, because anything that you download from God will be of love, of care, and it will be aligned with like his will versus going based off of, other people's projections or, how they're reading the situation. And cat's feeder. And it may be, naturally biased towards you, especially if they care and love for you deeply. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is to be still enough and quiet enough to actually listen to your body and and have the awareness of like, okay, as I reflect, like, has this opportunity, this job, this business I'm creating, like, has it actually been bringing me joy? Has it been something where I feel expansive and I feel as though I am truly able to lean into my talents and my gifts? Or is it something that is draining me, or something that I don't look forward to, or something that, like, every time I know I have to have a meeting, or, a message pops up on my phone from a boss or from a client, I'm over here getting tense? Like, really being able to be still enough to hear from your body, because another reality is that your body it'll give you the clearest signs, whether it's an opportunity, whether it's a person where it's like, oh, like, I don't know if I should be, continuing a relationship with this person. Well, okay, how do you feel whenever you receive a text message from them? Before even looking at the message, like, how do you feel whenever you see that name pop up on your phone? How do you feel whenever you're in their presence? Like, do you feel freer? Do you feel like you can be yourself? Do you feel as though the energy that you're giving out is being reciprocated in a similar manner from that person? And really being honest with yourself. And I say this especially for the people pleasers out there who put other people's feelings and emotions and well-being over themselves. So that's the second thing, is listen to your body. And the third thing is to have wise counsel. I have had several moments, whether it was job opportunities, whether it was people, whether it was time to get up on out of a city and go somewhere else. I have had several of people that, like, what brand? I've had several people that I am in, like, we locked in like this, who I'd be like, okay, so I think I'm gonna do this. And they'd be like, why? Well, I think I'm gonna reach back out to this person because I really think that we can like, rekindle our relationship. Is that a relationship you really want to rekindle? And why? Is that really the response that you think you're going to get? And why? Or with moving, is that really a place that you think that you're actually going to flourish in? And why? And having people who genuinely have your best interest at heart, being a mirror and being like, I know your desires. I know who you are as a person. I know what you're going after in this world. I know how this person has treated you in the past. Or I know how this person has lifted you up and been there for you in ways, like, whether the good or the bad, like, having people who can see past your blind spots. Because naturally, personally speaking, I am a very, very optimistic, glasses always half full, seeing the best in people kind of human being. But sometimes at a fault where it's like, girl, you see what I'm seeing? Like, I know you were there when that girl was talking to you crazy because I was right beside you. And now you're over here acting as if, oh, that's not that big of a deal, when we've already talked about you not letting people talk down to you and not letting people disrespect you. And it's like, hey, you know what? You're right. Let me sit my black self back here. And yeah, like, that has been those three things: fasting, listening to my body, and being with it with wise counsel, and like having people who they're not worried about hurting my feelings if it means that they're telling the truth and helping me see things that know what. Hold on one second. Speaking of wise counsel, my sister just called. But yes, like, having people who are not afraid to give you the real, and also aren't afraid to hold you accountable. Like, if you know that, if they show you that, like, okay, Brianne, like, I'm holding you accountable to you saying that you want to do better with teaching people how to treat you. And this right here is not looking like you doing that. So let's recalculate and come up with another game plan. And yeah, it truly is underrated. And I'll also just leave you with this. I do firmly believe that wise counsel is also, let me reframe. I also believe that therapists are also part of wise counsel. And thankfully, my therapist, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not been to therapy since 2024. I was going through a lot of friendship, no, I shouldn't say a lot. I went through 3 friendship breakups between 2020 to 2024 and needed like a lot of support and tools navigating those. Excuse me. And that was honestly the bulk of our therapy sessions. Like, I have a phenomenal relationship with my family, have a phenomenal relationship with my husband and his family, but like, I don't know how I would have navigated that like 2022 to 2024 era with like what friends to have the tough conversations with and, you know, try to mend things versus which ones it was like, okay, this needs to be released and you need to like appreciate and value the relationship for what it was within the time frame that God wanted that to be, so like in your life. And yeah, I don't know how I would have done that. I honestly think it would have probably driven my husband and my sisters and my mom up a wall, because I would have been going to them for stuff that they actually were not professionally licensed to, you know, give guidance on. And I think that's a really big thing that I lean on now with friendships, especially when I know that there is mental illness involved, which unfortunately is like, I honestly think we all going through something. And I think some people put the expectations on themselves and their family and friends to figure things out more than they're open to hiring someone like a therapist or a psychiatrist to help them navigate. And so especially when I can tell that a friend may not have a good grip on their mental and is struggling in ways that I'm like, okay, this feels like I'm getting into a territory right now that should be that of a therapist. That is when I will be like, hey sis, like, you know, I'm here for you. And also, where are we at with getting a therapist? And I do genuinely believe that is healthy. Like, we can't have a savior complex with our friends. So it's always, what are you doing to take care of yourself? How can I help as a friend? How are you leaning on God in this moment? And are you seeking out therapy to help navigate this current situation that you're experiencing? Because there's value in all four. Like, we all have a responsibility within ourselves, and also that, going back to that wise counsel, like having friends, being locked in with God, and then seeking out professional help where needed. So yeah, this was really good. I actually really enjoyed this video. And I think I made one recently as well, just on friendship breakups, because I do think it's something that people don't like to talk about, obviously. Like, it's not fun. But I do believe that we can all learn from how we all navigate these, because they are inevitable as we evolve, as we grow, as we lead more into who we are and having more self-respect for who we are. Then inevitably, like, there will be shifts happening. And I think that's definitely something that I have come to terms with over the past few years, and it's a beautiful thing. So if you are in a season of transition, I do want to encourage you, one, to fast and make sure that you are locked in with God. Getting the clarity from Him is probably the best avenue that you can take. I also want to encourage you to make sure that you have a solid group of family and friends around you who can give you advice, who can be there for you, who can support you. And then third, I want you to make sure that you are being still enough to actually spend time with yourself and understand what is going well, what's not going well, how your body is reacting to certain people, certain places, certain opportunities, and be real with yourself. Like, your body will give you signs that you can easily ignore or look over if you're not still and focused enough. So if you enjoyed this, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.